What if a person were to convert his greatest weakness into his greatest strength? You see Zokkomon swooping through the air, he flies, he's got extraordinary powers, he's damn cool, he's got a great costume. He would be an Indian superhero who's cool, he's modern Indian, okay? He's not 1 million year old Indian. Actually, we haven't really explored the superhero genre in India. We've only had Krish. RA1 is yet to come. I'm very happy that we are coming before RA1.
The very talented director Satyajit Bhatkal goes all out to tell us what his latest superhero flick Zokkomon is all about. So let's get started.
The idea of Zokkomon started out in seed with the thought that what if a person were to convert his greatest weakness into his greatest strength. A simple idea. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to a child. It can happen to an adult. Anyone who finds himself in a lot of difficulty, how do things pan out in that situation? Then we put this into a child who's completely helpless, who's an orphan, who's being taken advantage of by an uncle, and we started working out what are the possibilities that happen when you recognize that you're as strong as you believe you are.
बस्ती बस्ती और गलियों गलियों आया जो सवेरा आंगन आंगन बट जाएगा.
And that's how imagination then flowed through and took us to the idea of a superhero. Well, I think that the different qualities that Zokkomon possesses you'll see in the film. Some you would have definitely seen in the promos. You'll see Zokkomon swooping through the air, he flies, he's got extraordinary powers, he's damn cool, he's got a great costume, he's got all kinds of weapons with him, and he's got amazing control and command over them. So Zokkomon is a fully powered superhero. The real challenge for us when we were writing the film was how do we write a film in which there's a superhero, but that superhero should not be an imitator. Like as an audience, I'm not interested in seeing a poor man's Superman, a poor man's Batman. I want to see something which is as rich but which is original. So we needed an Indian superhero, and an Indian superhero could only come about if he was coming up in response to an Indian situation, an Indian problem. And which is why this film creates its own world, a world which is very Indian, just like we are world champions at cricket. I'd like to say that, we don't need to be imitators of anyone. And Zokkomon also is not an imitator to anyone. Zokkomon is an Indian hero in response to an Indian situation. Zokkomon, we see Anupam Kher doing two roles completely disconnected from each other, no connection with each other. I think he's done marvelously. In fact, even his mother couldn't recognize him. I think I just wanted a great performance. And I think that for Anupam, it was a terrific challenge. He's done over 400 films, but he says, and I'm grateful to him for that he has never put in as much into a film, and I would readily agree, as he has into Zokkomon. I just needed a great performance, and that's what Anupam, by being so completely transformed, was offering me. So that's the reason why I went with Anupam. Zokkomon means nothing. There is no meaning to the word. I was very clear that we didn't want Dharmaputra, he may be an Indian superhero, but he should be an Indian superhero who's cool. He's modern Indian, okay? He's not 1 million year old Indian. So Zokkomon sounded cool. I love the sound Z on the way it just sounded to the Z, Zokkomon. I think you'll get to see cutting edge action. It's not action that we've seen before, but it's action which is situational. It's not action for the sake of action. We could have had a lot of action which was just for the sake of action, ki dikhane ke liye. But the film itself is not like that. Everything in the film, from the songs to the action, is situational and is connected to the storytelling. You miss that and you'll miss a part of the film. So we've got absolutely cool, cutting edge, enjoyable action. Working with Darsheel actually was one of the richest parts of working on Zokkomon. Not only because he's a terrific actor, but because he's such a lovely child. And we formed a really beautiful bond through the film, which I think helped us to work well together. obviously, being a child, it was an additional challenge in the execution of the stunt scenes because we had to be that much more careful, we had to be that much more cautious, we had to be that much better trained and prepared, and it required a lot of work. And Darsheel actually trained with the stunt director William Ong, whom we sourced from Malaysia. He came, he trained with him for 3 months. There was a lot of height work where he had to get comfortable with the idea of performing at great heights. You know how action is executed nowadays, but I can tell you that a lot of the action in Zokkomon was also executed in camera. And hats off to that boy and his grit. Actually, we haven't really explored the superhero genre in India. We've only had Krish, which I think was one of the first superhero films we've had. RA1 is yet to come, so I'm very happy that we are coming before RA1. It may sound cliched, but actually films don't compete with each other because the audience, जब टिकट खरीदने जाती है, ये नहीं सोचती है कि they are deciding right now, is this going to be a fun film? Is this going to be an enjoyable film to watch? So they will judge us on that. I think it's a genre which offers rich possibilities. If it's an interesting story, I think there can be 20 superhero films. I'm glad mine is the first. I think this is one of the reasons why we don't do superhero films in India is because our own stories from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are full of superheroes. So we've never needed superheroes. America is a very young country. It needed to create its own mythology, so therefore they needed their Spider-Mans and Batmans, Superman. They had to create folklore. We never needed to create folklore because we are one of the richest and most ancient civilizations in the world. But nonetheless, modern conditions require, in some cases, modern responses. Zokkomon is a modern response to a modern situation. This is a film for all age groups. Even all the other films that you've been referring to, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, these are 6-year-olds went, 60-year-olds went, 25-year-olds went, everybody went. And I think that's been one of the big challenges for us, that we wanted an audience which is going to appeal across age groups. And Zokkomon is meant for everyone, 6 to 60 and over. The collaboration with Disney was actually quite beautifully simple. I didn't write the film for Disney or with any producer in mind for that matter. I wrote the film, and at the time when the script was ready, I learned that Disney was producing films. I stumbled upon somebody who worked in Disney. I didn't know him. I just stumbled upon him, and he called me to his office and he said, read the film. I read the film, he loved the script, and it was on.
Bollywood Hungama News Network.